Στη σύνδεσή μας έχουμε τον πρώην ηγέτη του Βρετανικού Εργατικού Κόμματος, ανεξάρτητο βουλευτή στο Βρετανικό Κοινοβούλιο και είναι συνιδρυτή του Your Party, Κόρμπιν. Κύριε Κόρμπιν, ανακοινώσατε πριν από λίγους μήνες ένα νέο εγχείρημα, ένα νέο κόμμα με την ονομασία Your Party, δηλαδή το κόμμα σας. Μπορείτε να μας δώσετε περισσότερες λεπτομέρειες για αυτή σας την κίνηση? Ποιες είναι οι ελπίδες σας και ποιες οι φιλοδοξίες σας?
After a lot of discussion and deliberation, we decided we want to form a new political party because of the failure of Labour to deliver anything in government, indeed, apart from a new round of austerity cuts. And so we decided to form a party. What we're doing at the moment is a series of rallies and meetings all over the country, some of which are completely locally organised, organic ones that sometimes we don't even know about. We've just produced this very handy card, which we're giving out everywhere, which is saying this is your party. I'll give you a flavour of it. The party stands for freedom for the many, from poverty, war and oppression, and in defence of democratic rights and liberties. It shares in the worldwide opposition to global system of imperial domination, colonization, and exploitation, and supports its movement for national liberation and self-determination. Both at home and abroad, your party stands against the war economy and the neoliberal capitalist order, fueling the climate crisis and the grotesque levels of inequality.
Κύριε Κόρμπιν, αναφέρατε πολλές πρωτοβουλίες με σκοπό να προσελκύσετε ψηφοφόρους, νέους ψηφοφόρους. Παρ' όλα αυτά βλέπουμε ότι πολλοί άνθρωποι που παλαιότερα ψηφίζαν αριστερά κόμματα, παραδοσιακοί ψηφοφόροι αριστερών κομμάτων, άνθρωποι που άνοικαν στην εργατική τάξη και ακόμα ανήκουν, τώρα νιώθουν παραμελημένοι και πλέον ψηφίζουν κόμματα της ακροδεξιάς. Πώς μπορούν αυτοί οι ψηφοφόροι να σας εμπιστευτούν ξανά? Πώς μπορούν δηλαδή να έρθουν κοντά στο νέο σας κίνημα? Και αυτό είναι και μια ερώτηση γενικότερα για το ευρωπαϊκό πολιτικό σύστημα.
All over Europe, 2008 was, it never felt like it necessarily at the time, but was actually a significant turning point in political history. It's a bit like when neoliberal economics started rising in its ascendancy in the 1970s with Ronald Reagan and Proposition 13 and with the austerity imposed on Chile and then Reagan and Thatcher being in power. It wasn't obvious at the time we were moving into a wholly new political era in which the right's ambition would be to slim down and reduce the role of the public in provision of services and growth of privatization. In 2008, we were into another highly significant point when the subprime mortgage crisis occurred. And that then led to the banks being bailed out by governments, basically, in most cases by quantitative easing, which is a very generous way of describing printing more money in order to keep the banks going. In return, the public realm had to be shrunk, and that had devastating consequences in Greece particularly, but also Italy, Spain, Portugal and Ireland suffered greatly. And in this country, we had austerity from 2010 onwards. The left parties that acceded to what the European Central Bank and the IMF wanted ended up usually losing office and losing power and losing influence as a result of it. PASOK almost disappeared completely in Greece, and Syriza fought back very hard, and then, as we all know, had after Yanis was finance minister, and after he was unable to keep the government supporting his policies, meant that Syriza actually became those that were carrying out the austerity measures. And that was carried out in other countries as well. And that was very damaging to the left. And in Britain, Labour lost the 2010 election on the basis of the austerity, failed to win in 2015 because they promised more austerity. I became leader then, and we managed to reverse the whole policy on austerity and the whole policy on cuts. So I think there is a case for a different political approach, and that's why we founded this party. after I'd been elected as an independent MP a year ago, and also various of my colleagues were elected mainly, as we said, on the issue of Palestine and Gaza. And so we're putting this party together, which will have economic justice at its core. Now, there's a lot of debate going on about how we achieve this. My view is any left party that is not grounded and rooted in the community cannot succeed, cannot survive. There has to be day-to-day, grassroots, very local accountability to what we do politically. Otherwise, we'll end up going the same way as all the other social democratic parties across Europe, all of which have gone along with austerity economics, all of which have significantly lost power and influence. If you look at the scene across Western Europe, the once very, very powerful German Social Democratic Party is a shadow of itself now. And you look in France, where the Socialist Party and Communist Party together used to command well north of 40% of the vote in good years. Now, and nowhere near that.
Αναφέρατε τον κύριο Αλέξη Τσίπρα, τον πρώην Πρωθυπουργό της Ελλάδας και πρώην Πρόεδρος του ΣΥΡΙΖΑ. Ο πρώην αυτός Πρωθυπουργός παραιτήθηκε από βουλευτής του ΣΥΡΙΖΑ, του κόμματος του οποίου ήρθε στην εξουσία το 2015 με τον Αλέξη Τσίπρα αρχηγό και πλέον σκέφτεται τη δημιουργία ενός μετριοπαθούς, ενός φιλελεύθερου και κεντροαριστερού κόμματος. Ποια είναι η δική σας γνώμη πάνω σε αυτό και ποια θα ήταν κιόλας η συμβουλή σας προς τον κύριο Τσίπρα?
I know him quite well. I campaigned with him before Syriza won the election. I know Yanis Varoufakis extremely well and work with him day to day. And we're both in Progressive International, so we know and understand each other extremely well. What I would say is that the people of Greece have seen their services privatized, have seen so many state assets sold off to global corporations, even roads sold off. And Greece has become almost a laboratory in neoliberal economics. I would have thought what is needed in Greece is a very strong left alternative, which is about community ownership and community provision in its widest sense of public services, and also to be a force with that great tradition of the Greek left to oppose war and support the Palestinian people, which has surely got to be the right way forward. I'm a bit surprised if he's pitching the party towards the centre. I would have thought, as I said, what's needed is something stronger to the left.
Κύριε Κόρμπιν, ζούμε σε περίεργες εποχές με τεκτονικές αλλαγές να συμβαίνουν παντού στον κόσμο. Θα ήθελα τη γνώμη σας. Πώς θα περιγράφατε την προεδρία του Ντόναλντ Τραμπ μέχρι τώρα και πώς η αριστερά μπορεί να αντιμετωπίσει αυτό το μάγκα κίνημα που εξαπλώνεται και πέραν των Ηνωμένων Πολιτειών? Και μιας και ανέφερα τις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες Αμερικής, σε λίγες ημέρες η Νέα Υόρκη πιθανότατα θα εκλέξει τον πρώτο δήμαρχο της, ο οποίος, από ό,τι φαίνεται, έχει σοσιαλιστικές ιδέες και θα είναι και ο πρώτος μουσουλμάνος της πόλης, τον Ζοράν Μαμντάνι. Θα ήθελα την άποψή σας για το πώς κρίνετε την εκλογική του καμπάνια, τις εναλλακτικές προτάσεις που έχει θέσει στο τραπέζι της πολιτικής αυτής της καμπάνιας, αλλά και το τι μπορεί να μάθουν τα ευρωπαϊκά κόμματα, οι ευρωπαίοι πολιτικοί από τις εναλλακτικές αυτές προτάσεις για να τις εφαρμόσουν στα δικά μας κτήματα.
Zoran Mamdani's election campaign in New York is an inspiration, doing very, very well. And indeed, I just sent him a gift yesterday of a poetry book, Poetry for the Many, with lots of very good radical poems in it. And wished him well in the election and said if he needs to take a break, he can take inspiration from the poets. What we do need is to understand that it is possible to fight back, and that's exactly what groups of people are doing all over Europe. And Zoran winning is important. Now, Trump is, well, he comes across as being random and slightly disorganized and just makes on-the-hoof decisions on matters of huge importance to the whole planet. I don't really see it that way. I think he is a very effective, very calculating politician. the randomness is actually a power, because it creates the illusion that he's been completely unpredictable and nobody knows what it's going to be next. But there is a pattern to it all, which is about trying to appeal to his base in the USA that tariffs and what he calls bringing the manufacturing back home work and are going to create jobs. We have to think in terms of technology. We have to think two ways in terms of jobs. One is shorter working week, and things like guaranteed basic income ideas. We also have to think in terms of environmental sustainability and consumption levels. We also have to think in terms of increasing employment in health, social care, and all the industries that actually provide for a decent standard of living for all. So we can either go down the road of free market economics with a huge pool of unemployed and a relatively small number of people working in very high-tech industries and totally inadequate social services, or we can do something different. The socialist way is to share things out. The socialist way is to use technology to the advantage of the working class, not technology to enrich people at the expense of the working class.
Θα ήθελα να σας ευχαριστήσω, κύριε Κόρμπιν, και να σας ευχηθώ την καλύτερη επιτυχία και στο Βρετανικό Κοινοβούλιο, αλλά και στη Βρετανική πολιτική ζωή. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.